left face. Carry the colors. Present arms.
And at this time, we will have Mr. Gary Ward come and lead us in the pledge to the American flag and in particular the pledge to the Texas flag.
Before Mr. Ward does that, I want to say a couple things about Mr. Ward. Gary Ward is a longtime resident of Mesquite. As a young man, he enlisted in the United States Army in 1970, ultimately joining the infantry. Mr. Ward served with honor and distinction as a combat soldier in Vietnam. After serving out his enlistment, Gary would come to Mesquite and eventually join the ranks of the Mesquite Fire Department, which we have some representation here today by those, where he would serve over 30 years as a firefighter and paramedic, retiring a few years ago with the rank of captain. Like many of our veterans, many of you who are in this room today, Captain Ward came back home after seeing the pain and horror of war and would devote the rest of his life to saving lives and helping those who would find themselves in the most difficult of circumstances. Captain Ward is also devoted to the children of Mesquite, not just as a firefighter, but he also served as a term as a Mesquite ISD board trustee. And I know that all the city council and the citizens of Mesquite are proud of his service, as we are all of you today. Thank you, Captain Ward, for your service.
Are we ready? Yes. Okay. Great country, huh? All right. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Order. Arms. Order the colors. Follow.
Please join me in thanking the Army Coast Guard from Mesquite High School for presenting the colors for everyone. Thank you, Honor Choir. This is our Tyson McGraw Choir. This was a brainchild of our awesome music teacher, Ms. Michelle Zentek. She started about 3 years ago. You may be seated. Good morning. My name is Valerie Nelson. I'm the proud principal of Tysinger Elementary. I am also the proud wife of a veteran who currently serves in the Air Force Reserves at Barksdale Air Force Base in Bossier, Louisiana. So he couldn't be here this morning. Yes, he's also a police officer and they're running warrants right now. So I do have a special place in my heart for veterans. And this is a program that we decided to start putting on about 3 or 4 years ago because we thought it was very important for our students to understand that the freedoms that they enjoy here at this school, in our awesome city, in our state, and our country don't come for free. They come at a price. And so when we're talking about Memorial Day, when we're talking about Veterans Day, we want them to truly understand that it's you, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, that make the pledge to defend the flag and all that it stands for. So we are very, very excited to have all of you with us this morning, those that I can see around the pillars and those that I can't. And we hope that you always feel welcome and supported here at Tysinger, whether it's Veterans Day or not. Please feel free to come in and volunteer throughout the year and share your stories with our students, because I don't know where the next 4-star general is going to come from. They could very well be standing in front of you right now. So thank you all so much for all our first responders, all our police, all our veterans. Thank you for all that you do, and welcome to Tysinger. This gentleman is no stranger to me, and he's definitely no stranger to a lot of you. Bruce Archer is a big friend of Tysinger. I've known Mr. Archer since I had his children at Moss when I was the principal there. He's been volunteering in our schools and at Tysinger since in the 1990s. It sounds so long ago. When Ms. Bowling, Catherine Bowling, was the principal here, mentoring and tutoring students and reading to classes from time to time. Bruce is a Mesquite native. He served, I think, over 20 years as the general manager of the CC's Pizza in the south side of Mesquite, and he has definitely delivered his share of pizzas here to Tysinger. Bruce is serving in his second term. Mr. Archer is serving in his second term as city council and represents the neighborhood surrounding our campus. So, without any further ado, please join me in welcoming back Mr. Bruce Archer.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'd like to say a special thanks to Mrs. Nelson, along with all the faculty here at Tysinger, and some wonderful students for hosting this very special event to honor our veterans today. And didn't they do a fantastic job? I'm very proud of all of you today. I'd like to also recognize some other dignitaries here. One of my council colleagues, Councilman Robert Miklos, back here in the back. Our fire and police chief, Chief Charlie Cato and Mark Kirby are back here, and we're proud to have you guys with us today. Some first responders here as well. Perhaps maybe we've got some veterans among them. And most importantly, all of you who have served your nation. Thank you for being here today. Mrs. Nelson, I have known her since my kids were at Moss, and I've watched her over the years there make a difference. Watched her make a difference in Wilkinson, and now here at Tysinger the last few years, and I can tell you that she and her team here are truly difference makers. And I'm looking forward to, as she said, perhaps a 4-star or a mayor or a business owner or even a president coming out of this group here one day. Amen. Dating back to the Revolutionary War, this nation has been abundantly blessed with a long line of men and women who have answered the call to protect our nation and keep us free. And today we take a few minutes, as we will tomorrow, to remember and recognize those who have answered their nation's call to service, including those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for their country, so we might enjoy our freedom that we have today. From Continental soldiers shedding their blood against British bayonets at Bunker Hill, or freezing in sub-temperatures at Valley Forge during the Revolutionary War, our veterans were there. The defeat of American forces at Baltimore, where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner that we just sang a while ago, to the victory at New Orleans during the War of 1812, our veterans were there. When U.S. Marines smashed through the halls of Montezuma and the loss of U.S. Army soldiers at Veracruz during the war with Mexico, our veterans were there. The loss of lives at places like Gettysburg and Shiloh during the Civil War, our veterans were there. When hundreds of U.S. sailors lost their lives when the USS Maine sunk, and the bravery exhibited by Army Rough Riders up San Juan Hill during the war with Spain, our veterans were there. When Army soldiers and U.S. Marines endured savagery and misery in the trenches of places like Belleau Wood or the Battle of Cantigny in World War I, our veterans were there. When so many sailors perished with their ships at Pearl Harbor, when Army Air Corps crews were shot down over Europe, Army soldiers who advanced one after the other in horrific fire at Normandy Beach, or the U.S. Marines who finally planted the stars and stripes at Mount Suribachi in World War II, our veterans were there. When Army Marine Corps units fought valiantly under terrible weather conditions in the Battle of Incheon or the Chosin Reservoir in the war with Korea, our veterans were there. When the American forces endured in places like Dak To or Khe Sanh, or Air Force and Navy pilots who endured captivity for years in Hanoi during the Vietnam War, our veterans were there. And for those of you today who did serve in Vietnam, I know at least 2 or 3 of you who did, you didn't get the parades and the welcome home events that you deserved. But this day, in 2017, while long overdue, I want to say welcome home and thank you so much, and God bless you. Whether during the painful loss of our Marines in Beirut in 1983, Army Rangers moving into Panama City during Operation Just Cause, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines in places like Somalia, Bosnia, Iraq, both times, Afghanistan, and so many other battlefields around the world, our veterans always have and always will be there. So today, in the most uncertain world in which we live, but yet we still enjoy so many blessings, and we bask in the freedoms that so many have fought and died for, let us remember our veterans. Not just with our words, but through our actions. I'll say that again. Let us honor our veterans, not just with our words, but through our actions. Let us make sure that every one of us are worthy of those sacrifices made for us and how we live our lives every day. Let us make sure that we are continuing to carry on as a nation and a community that loves our neighbor, that looks out for each other, that we feel a sense of obligation and duty to be good citizens and to do our part, that we vote in all elections, that we volunteer when and where we are needed, that we would serve on juries even when it's inconvenient. No one raised their hand on that one. And yes, come to places like this wonderful campus and give of your time to make sure that every child here and in America has his or her chance to one day live the American dream. Let that be one of our goals, to honor those who have served. And that God willing, these precious angels one day will come back and serve their communities and serve their nation because of how we inspire them today. And lastly, we honor our veterans by making sure that we keep getting better at seeing that they have the medical resources that they need to heal either physically, mentally, or emotionally. You see, we live in a time unlike 40 or 50 years ago when almost everyone knew a number of folks in the military. That's not the case today. Many citizens know no one who's serving in our armed forces or who are currently serving. So perhaps we also need to get better at knowing who our veterans are, because they have done so much for us. At this time, if you have served your nation in the armed forces, would you please stand? I'd like to go through and each of you introduce yourself and the service that you were in, please. We'll start with you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anton Smith, formerly known as AS2, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy. I served on the USS Saipan as well as the USS Roosevelt.
Thank you for your service.
Bill Amos, served in the U.S. Army, Vietnam.
Thank you for your service.
Gary Burnett, served in the United States Navy during the Vietnam era aboard the USS Constellation.
Nicole Dubow, currently serving in the United States Navy Reserves, ET2.
Thank you.
Randy Page, United States Army, Vietnam.
Thank you.
Ron Graham, U.S. Navy, served in a little old place called City of Morocco. I was a land-loving Swabian.
Brian Mundy, graduate North Mesquite High School, class of '87. United States Army 82nd Airborne Division for Desert Shield, Desert Storm, or Presidential Honor Guard.
Thank you.
Andrew Babonko, United States Marines, got out as a staff sergeant, served in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Charles West, Marine Corps for 9.5 years. I was shot in Vietnam in the neck. Then I did another 13.5 years in the Navy. I was in Beirut when those Marines were killed in that. I was on the Eisenhower. So.
Bill Lee, 37-year Army veteran, 6 years Mesquite High School Junior ROTC senior instructor.
Richard Barrett, 32-year Army veteran, 1 year Mesquite High School, 2 years Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Bosnia.
Micah Merrifield, United States Marine Corps, infantryman.
Mahogany Shaw, Air Force, 8 years, served in the Iraqi Freedom.
Brian Parrish, United States Marine Corps as an ordnanceman.
Charlie Cato, United States Army. I was an infantryman and an armor company commander, tank commander.
Robert Reese, U.S. Army, infantry, Vietnam.
Ron Ward, retired Air Force Senior Master Sergeant, served from 1972 to 1998.
Mark Kirby, United States Naval Reserve. I was another one of those land-loving Swabies. I worked on airplanes, 82.
Did we miss anyone? Did we miss that someone? Okay, be seated, please. In a moment, we're going to have another performance from this incredible group of singers here. Before we do, I'd like to ask if we could, for all those who did not get to make it home, we can have a moment of silence for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. Thank you. For all of you who have served, on behalf of the Mesquite City Council and all the people of Mesquite, we honor you today, and we thank you. God bless you. So again, Mrs. Nelson and all the Ty Singer faculty, all these wonderful students for hosting this event, and to all our veterans today, may the Lord bless you, may He watch over you, and may He bless the United States of America.
Amen.
And I will let these vocalists do their thing.
On Veterans Day, we honor all who answered to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride.
We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of the red and white. They fought for us and all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we all thank veterans the same.
We are proud. parents, because of you, we have the freedom to grow up and be what we want to be.
In this group, we may have doctors, artists, bankers, teachers, and many more different types of professions that haven't even been invented yet.
We get to build a future that we want to see, and it's all because of you. I am the voice of America. I am freedom's song. I am the wings of an eagle. I am proud and strong. America the beautiful. America the free. America the home of all I ever dreamed to be. I can be a doctor, I can be an artist, I can be a banker, I can reach the sky, I can learn a language, I can shoot a basket, I can build a future, I can help you try. America the beautiful, America the free, America the home of all I ever dreamed to be. I am a doctor, I can be an artist, I am a banker, I can reach the skies, I learn a language, I can shoot a basket, I am a future, proud and strong. America.
Can you all join me in thanking our honor squad one more time for their wonderful. On behalf of Tysinger, as the principal, my teachers would be here, but they're in their teaching and they're making sure that their futures are bright. And every opportunity that they've sung about today, we are making sure that they have every opportunity on the table. And that's because of you. It's because of all that you do, the way that you support us, be it whether you come when we call, when we have a child having an asthmatic attack, or when we're selling more cookie dough than you need in your freezer. But whatever small act you've done, be it through the service or what you do now in our community, we thank you and we appreciate you. And we hope that you will continue to be friends of Tysinger, and we will definitely continue to honor and respect all that you've done and continue to do. So at this time, this ends our program. We have light refreshments for you. You know, it's one thing, my husband's real big on, you know, if I've been going out working, I want something warm when I come home. So we baked homemade breakfast casserole. So we would like for our veterans to please line up and be served first, and then the rest of you may join in afterwards. And we have a bigger crowd than we anticipated, but we are so thankful that you're here. There's coffee, juice, and again, breakfast casserole, and thank you again for being here.